Did you know the largest what's the largest Christian university in the country? I think if you ask a lot of atheists and a lot of people who follow church state separation news online, like what's the biggest Christian school in the country? They're going to get this answer wrong like 100 times out of 100. Like you might say it's Liberty University because they have a very robust online program. I'm not sure what you think might come second. Turns out it's none of that. It's not, I see in the comments, it's not Duke, it's not Notre Dame, it's not private schools because obviously those are going to be smaller. No, it's a place called Grand Canyon University. It is based in Phoenix. It is also mostly online. I think 80% of the students enrolled at GCU are online students, but it is a Christian school. And the reason it's been in the news this week is it turns out they've been lying to students for years about the cost of their grad school program. And like, they're not just lying. I mean, they're in federal trouble for how bad and big they are lying about it. In fact, let me show you this press release from the US Department of Education. Let me pull this up for a second. But basically, here we go. Boom. Pulling this up. Sorry, takes a second. There we go. The U.S. Department of Education Office of Federal Student Aid has fined Grand Canyon University $37.7 million for deceiving thousands of students. They've been defrauding the kids at their school. And like, let's talk about what's going on here because $38 million fine is a lot. So just to give you some details here, actually, you know what? I'll read some of this press release for you because it does go into some detail, but I will explain this for you. The federal student aid investigation found that GCU lied to more than 7,500 former and current students about the cost of its doctoral programs over several years. GCU falsely advertised a lower cost than what 98% of students ended up paying to complete certain doctoral programs. GCU lied about the cost of its doctoral programs to attract students to enroll, said the office. FSA takes its oversight responsibility seriously. GCU's lies harmed students, broke their trust, and led to unexpectedly high levels of student debt. Today, we're holding GCU accountable for its actions, protecting students and taxpayers, and upholding the integrity of the federal student aid programs. And look at this right here. FSA's investigation determined that as far back as 2017, GCU was not fully informing students about the cost of its doctoral programs. GCU stated that those programs cost between $40,000 and $49,000. Whoo, boy. Okay, let's unpack some of that right here. I'm going to show you what the Department of Education actually did, what they did for students. And let me just give you an example by showing you this right here. Let's say I want to get my PhD at Grand Canyon University in psychology. So I'll go to their website and I say, okay, GCU's website, I want to get my PhD in psychology, this specific type of psychology, cognition and instruction. And you start looking up the details. Look at the right side, right above my head, right here. Like, if I go through that stuff, here we go. It's 60 credit hours. Yeah, there we go. It's 60 credit hours. You can do it online. You can only transfer like 9 credits from another school. So you're really hooked into GCU to start and finish your program. And then it's $725 per credit hour. So most students would then do the math. $725. Someone do this for me in the comments. $725 for every credit hour. And you have to take 60 credit hours. So what does that come out to? I think I did this a while ago, but whatever. It would come out to like 43,500. I hope that's correct. It's like $43,000. And what the Department of Education said is, again, all of their PhD programs, these doctoral programs, cost between $40,000 and $49,000 depending on what they were doing. So, sounds fine. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I'm sure that's comparable to what other schools are doing too, so nothing weird about that. But here's what the Department of Education said in the letter they sent to the school. And this is pretty damning right here. Check this out. It turned out that when they looked at students enrolled between 2011 and 2017, it turned out 60 credit hours, like I showed you in that one program, that is not what it took to get your PhD. In fact, you had to take something called continuation courses. Like, there were a few classes you have to take in order to finish your degree, and we didn't tell you about that ahead of time. But now that you're like 50 credit hours into your doctorate with a handful left to go, and now you're stuck in the program because those credits aren't going to transfer elsewhere, now we're going to spring on you the fact that you still got more classes to take. How many continuing courses? Well, according to this chart, which again, holy cow, look at this. 30, let me pull this up a little bit here. Look at the bottom of this chart. 34.8 students had to take more than 6 continuation courses for a cost of over $12,000. 42.9% of students had to take 5 courses for over $10,000. And only 1.7% of graduates didn't have to take any of these other courses. So the point is, all of these students, the vast majority, 98% of students getting their doctorate from GCU were not paying the sticker price. They thought they would have to spend $40,000 to $49,000 to get their doctorate, but the school lied about it. That's what the Department of Education is saying. The school actually made them take all these other courses that they had to do to get their doctorate, and it cost between $10,000 to $12,000 more for, like, what is that? 77% of students had to pay $10,000 more than the sticker price. And again, the point is, if 98% of students have to pay more than what you say is the estimated cost, you are giving the wrong estimated cost. You get the drift? That's what the problem was. And that's what the Department of Education pointed out. And the thing is, it's not just that they were lying about the estimated cost. According to the Department of Education, in this letter they sent to the school, they had internal emails at GCU between people running the school that indicated that the school's leadership had been aware since at least January of 2017 that its disclosures regarding cost were incomplete or misleading. So the Department of Education says, we know that you knew about all this and you still didn't fix it. So Grand Canyon University, the officials there say, we were not lying at all. All these additional fees were mentioned to students in the fine print and other documents. But the Department of Education says that's not where you're supposed to list all that stuff. No, you have to put that up front and center. Like, that's the problem. And by the way, in addition to the $38 million fine that the government is levying on the school, they're also demanding GCU has to stop lying about the cost of a doctoral degree and find a monitor, like a objective monitor, to make sure the school is complying with the law. And the reason the government is allowed to levy this fine against a private Christian school is because GCU also happens to be the biggest recipient in the country of federal student loans. They actually get over $1.1 billion, I believe, a year in Title IV funding, which is like financial aid. So the Department of Ed has every right then to make sure those funds are being used as intended. And if the school is gouging kids' wallets to get the money, those loans are not being fairly spent. And it should say the report that the Department of Education provided said that right now more than $18 million in federal funds has been given to over 1,300 students who are right now enrolled in doctoral programs. And over the since 2018, over 7,500 students have gone through those programs, and we're talking over $122 million in tuition. Also interesting in this report, um, the Department of Education said, oh, by the way, we could have charged you way more as a fine because, according to their calculations, they were legally allowed to institute a fine of $509 million, which would have been about $67,500 for every violation, all 7,500 plus violations. But the $38 million fine that they actually gave them, that makes it about $5,000 for every violation. And the reason the government lowered the fine is because they said GCU wasn't lying to all their students, just the ones in this very specific kind of program. It was just the doctoral students who were screwed over. It wasn't all of them. So that's where we're at this week. That's what the story was. I should say, the school says, what the hell? We didn't do anything wrong. Let me show you their press release right here. This is what the school said in response. GCU categorically denies, just categorically refutes the Department of Education's lies and deceptive statements. Let's see this thing. They categorically deny every accusation in the state. All of them. They're all wrong. And look at this. It is further evidence of the coordinated and unjust actions the federal government is taking against the largest Christian university in the country. They found a way to make this about Christian persecution, which is wild because nowhere in the department's report do they even mention Christianity. This has nothing to do with Christianity. This is just a university lying to students and basically taking their money. And the government has a responsibility to stop that. If it's funny that the government says, hey, school, you're committing a crime, and the school's response is, we're just Christian. And it's like, all right, you're the ones connecting those dots, not us, but all right, you do you. Now, here's where we're at with this whole thing. GCU has until, I believe, November 20th, like a couple weeks and change from now, to appeal the fine, whether they want to go through a judge or just write a letter saying, here's why we don't deserve it. But if the punishment stands and the school doesn't want to pay it, it is possible the federal government could just say, all right, students, if you want to go to GCU, that's fine, but we cannot give you loans to enroll in that school, or at least the doctoral program, because we don't trust that the money is being spent as they say it should be. And that would destroy the school's ability to attract students in general, but at least doctoral students. So this will be resolved one way or the other. And I will say, like, I appreciate the fact that the Biden administration, for all its flaws, the fact that they are trying to protect students from predatory schools, that is one of the things they have done right. They're doing whatever they can. They're going through the proper procedures to make it happen. And the weird thing is, all GCU had to do here is tell the truth. Just let students know the actual cost of getting a PhD there. Because again, if 98% of the doctoral students are paying more than they say they need to pay, then you're lowballing the amount it costs to get a PhD. So the government is right to go after schools that are misleading students like this.